So The Last of Us 2 is right around the corner from this upload, and I thought I'll talk about my limited experience with the first game in the franchise, The Last of Us, Remastered Edition. This is the best game that I've ever played, but that statement comes with a condition. I didn't play it for enjoyment or to relax to, I played it as a story game, and why I consider it the best or one of the best games that I've ever played is purely based on what it did for me. It redefined my understanding of what games could accomplish on an emotional and engageable level. Yeah, I know that games continue to become more and more immersive, that's a given, but I didn't expect to become emotionally engaged in a game that much, one that could originally run on the incredibly powerful PS3. Let me start you off where I started. I was pretty new to gaming and it was my first year of uni. I got The Last of Us as one of my first games in the PS4, but I strictly remembered avoiding the story because I didn't want to be too distracted. I did want to play it eventually, but maybe during the holidays. Because of this, I started the multiplayer first instead, and it was really good. Naughty Dog actually did an amazing job with this multiplayer. Actually, they do a really good job with a lot of their multiplayer games. I don't know if anyone still plays the Uncharted multiplayer games, but they were pretty entertaining. I would definitely try it again if I can get into a lobby with Cage and Chocolate Chunk. But The Last of Us multiplayer modes were particularly amazing. It was pretty much like TDM, but with limited revives. And it was so intense. It was like multiplayer in an apocalyptic scenario. You had to be incredibly stealthy and sneaky, and you were always on edge because every move you made could either win your team the match or destroy a team completely. This wasn't a game mode for the easily stressed out. You were almost always in a half panic, half tactically calm mode, and you were so on edge that you wouldn't always know if you'd be crouch walking and building traps while listening to the near silent footsteps of your enemies in 1 minute, or running for your life, escaping traps and the opposing team in another. It was a multiplayer game that made you feel more alive than most. And again, I wouldn't play it to relax to, but it was a multiplayer that blended casual gaming with high stakes gameplay. And it's an odd mode when you think about it. A multiplayer that feels casual when you load into it, that suddenly becomes high stakes if it's a tight match. I seriously think about loading it up and trying it out again. But if there isn't a player base, then I'm hoping The Last of Us 2 brings it back, or improves on it, because it was a game mode to experience. You really had to try it out. I know I've been talking about the multiplayer a fair bit, and that's because I thought it was pretty unique and I thought it deserved a mention. But The Last of Us is usually thought of as solely a story game, and it really delivers on this premise too. I got the extended version of it, which basically tacks on like a mini story on top of the real game. From memory, it doesn't spoil the main story of the game at all. If anything, it actually adds a clearer picture to the characters you get to play with, and I like that they included it in. But I'm trying to be purposefully loose with the details here. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who still wants to play it. In fact, I played a lot of multiplayer games with Chum, but I'm not entirely sure if he had time to finish the main campaign as well. If you like watching an incredibly skilled gamer and Pokemon enthusiast, check out Chum's channel. He covers a lot of content, and he's pretty damn entertaining in Fortnite and Modern Warfare Warzone. Anyway, back to The Last of Us. Without dragging this clip out too long, I'll clear it up here. It's an emotional roller coaster. At one point, I actually thought the game was over, only to realize that I wasn't even halfway through it. But that isn't even the weird part. This is. As I continued to play it, at each and every point I kept wanting the game to finish, because I didn't want these fictional characters to suffer anymore. You know how crazy that sounds? To care about this story when there were real-world problems to solve. It was racking my brain just contemplating it. But when I say this was the game that redefined games for me, here's what I really meant. People can be moved greatly by music, TV shows, and maybe a lot of people would put movies at the top of the list, as a medium that can greatly have an emotional impact on an individual. I mean, sure, you have popular songs and classics, and you have favorite TV shows that ignite ideas or feelings from you. But movies always seem to be that go-to answer for storytelling and experience that is epic. I mean, people go to the big hits like Shawshank, Dark Knight, Empire Strikes Back, etc. By the way, there are a lot of big hits from different genres that I'm purposefully missing here, but I just want to say that I just watched A Time to Kill and I was stunned. I can't believe this movie is so old and I completely missed it this entire time. Anyway, epic movies can pull you through a short, emotional story and feel caught up in the drama, like you're in their frame, witnessing the character's story secondhand. But this game took immersion to an entirely different level, one beyond what I thought movies could achieve, and to a platform where the story becomes the world that you live in. Here, you don't witness the character's journey, you build it. The story evolves with you in it, being these characters and sharing their pain and understanding their desires and drive. It felt like the next level of immersion, as it showed the difference between living a story and just witnessing it. And what brought it to life was the journey that Ellie and Joel go through. It was so messed up, but you felt like you were there, experiencing it with them and as them. Now, although I'd highly rate this game with glowing reviews, I would still have a hard time selling it. And I'm talking about the people that would actually love it if they tried it out, not those that would play it and still hate it. Many people avoid this game because it's a zombie game, and the top two excuses is that they either hate the culture or they're just scared about it. I know people who fall into each category separately. I also know that if they try it, they would definitely think differently about it. But I don't blame them. Nothing should make you want to try a game unless you actually want to get completely into it and play it. And there's so much zombie stuff out there in movies and games that it can be understandable to be disappointed and overwhelmed by it all, but just don't let the stereotypes judge this one for you. I'm still being amazed by content creators in all fields, which means I have a lot of growing up to do myself, and this one stands out of the pack. So if you're on the fence about it, just reconsider it. It could be for you, but if you do try it, remember to prepare yourself for an emotional roller coaster. The experience that this game creates is it's pretty amazing, and it's hard to describe until you actually try it out. Oh yeah, I realized I didn't really talk about Last of Us 2 that much. I do have high hopes for it, but I should be fair and reserve my opinions till I actually play it. If you do try it, let me know if I wasted your time or not. Anyway, thanks for watching, and take care.